of Billy Johnston. And a very special, that pass from Lamb, look forward inside to Johnston. I was about to say a very warm welcome to our viewers right throughout Queensland watching the Sydney League match of the day today at the time slot normally occupied by your own match out of Brisbane. But of course that was washed out, and that's the reason you're copying the NEC big game between Penrith and Canterbury. Delicate kick ahead by Terry Lamb, covered up by Mark Levy, and Levy will play the ball now. Inside his own 22 line, away from dummy half comes Ben Gonzalez, the third member of that young side I was telling you about, the SG Ball Penrith side that had Alexander and Robinson in it. Away it goes along the line, and Izzard has put it down. Oh, well, he might give the penalty. He might give a penalty try. What's he going to do? Steve Folkes was collared around the neck. He was pursuing the ball that he'd kicked through. See it? Crash. A penalty has to be given, the way I read it. No way he could have given a penalty try when you see it on the replay, but he must give a penalty to Canterbury Bankstown, one would think. Looked like Ross Gigg was the man that got him, but he's called the wrong guy out. Why they were talking to Gary Howell's got me beat, unless the touch judge was reporting something entirely different. But it was Ross Gigg that got Steve Folkes. The penalty's been given anyway. But unless that touch judge was making a report on another matter, they dead set have pinched the wrong player. Makes no difference, of course. Nobody was marched. So these clouds are thickening and darkening as Conlon prepares to take the first shot. He should get this, Conlon. Sweet, beautiful off the boot, beautiful in flight. And Canterbury Bankstown lead Penrith by 2 points to 0. You're watching the NEC big game from a crowded Penrith Park. Lamb, Brian Batiste coming up out wide. Mortimer across the paddock, turning it inside for his brother Chris. And Chris is to play at 10 metres into Penrith area. Billy Johnston. Now it's with Peter Tunks. And Tunks is eventually put to ground, but not before a fight. Mortimer, Lamb. Langmack giving it back to Steve Mortimer. Canterbury running plenty of crosses. Johnston, the pass was forward, I thought, to Batiste, and it's gone on now out to Peter Mortimer, and he's into touch. But I am not a regular critic of referees, but by Jove, Greg McCullum's made a couple of rulings here today that have had me offside with him.
Well, in that movement, they looked like there might have been 2 forward passes.
Well, I've got to say this, and I'm not anti-Canterbury in saying it, but I'm glad no try eventuated, because it looked like a blatant forward pass, and it's not the first we've seen in the match so far today. And add that to a disallowed try for Penrith, things aren't going all that brilliantly for the Panthers on the score of Lady Luck. However, that's only my opinion. And it's played by Craig Connor, and it's gone to Alexander. Now with Fenton. Warren Fenton. He's been around for a long time, but by Jove, when he retires, they'll nearly have to knight him up here. Alexander, and that's the punishment the little man has to take if he can't take the ball cleanly, as he didn't. This is Connor. Gary Howell. He's a good, strong runner, Howell. Came from Parramatta to Penrith, where he thought he might get a better go, and he is. And the kick from Alexander is a good one. He's found it midway between the 22 and halfway on the Canterbury end of the ground. Story I can tell about Gary Howell is once Jack Gibson was looking for a replacement. Parramatta were behind. He was looking for what he calls a bust man, and he asked his minor grade coaches at the time, Keith Clark and John Money, who's the best bust man we've got sitting on that bench down there, guy? And through the walkie-talkie came the reply, we've got a guy here called Howell. And he got the job, and he went on and he busted them all right. He ran 75 metres from memory to score. That's him in the headgear, and he's still very, very hard to contain in attack. So the tap is taken, and it's with Alexander. A wide ball for Simmons and a cutout pass, and it's gone around the back for Goodwin. And he'll play it on the Canterbury 22 line. Simmons, he just jinks out of there, and now he goes himself. He's been setting himself up to do that, Royce, since this game started. Little dummies and little foil stooges, if you like, off the dummy half mark, and then he had a little go himself. Here's Connor. Craig Connor's about 5 or 6 metres out from the Canterbury line. Tackled by Billy Johnston and Brian Batiste. And from dummy half, here's Howe. There's the bus man. He's in to score. Gary Howe. Give him 5 metres to run. Put a brick wall in front of him and he'll go through it. Or at least he'll try to. And that was pretty fragile stuff from Canterbury to put it back in its right perspective. Let's see it again. Oh! Was there a hint of a knock-on at the dummy half? Well, Howe just went bang straight over the top of the Canterbury defence man.
It was a well-executed set move by Penrith. It took them 3 rucks to set forward, and then Howe became the receiver on a crisscross back to the blind side, and over he goes for the opening try of the game.
Terry Lamb was the man who went, well, you saw it again, just that little hint of a knock-on at the dummy half. Whether the ball was propelled towards the opponent's goal line, that is a matter for you to make up your opinion on.
I think it shows that Lady Luck evens out in the end.
Well, on top of what I said a few seconds back, yeah. The conversion, successful from Mark Levy. And Penrith lead Canterbury Bankstown by 6-2. This man is Brett Lobb. Gee, he's got that right thigh heavily strapped, hasn't he, Brett? Very heavily taped. Alexander throwing a long ball to Gig, and away it goes to Gonzalez. And Gonzalez is not held. He's just outside the 22 when tackled now.
Once again, Penrith showed us their willingness to move the ball in their own quarter. It almost cost them a try before when Braz Izzard dropped the ball and Steve Folkes gave chase and Canterbury came up with a penalty, but they're prepared to move the ball, and that's good, entertaining football.
Levy kicking wisely, getting it out of his own 22. Conlon to take it back, and he's tackled by Gig and Robinson. Crowd of 13,892. Potter, he'll be hard to beat. Inside the 22, kicks ahead. Oh, Mark Levy's marked it. Fielding it silly mid-on. Levy was fielding so close to the bat, and he was able to pull it off.
You saw the experience here of Mark Levy. He didn't commit himself. A lot of younger fullbacks would have come in to try and make a ball and all tackle and force Potter over the sideline. He waited until he knew Potter had nowhere to go except down the sideline. Potter elected to kick ahead and it went straight into the arms of the waiting experienced fullback.
Benton. Simmons again.
Making some yardage from dummy half, Penrith, and that's an area that Canterbury are going to have to tidy up. They're starting to look a little tired.
Folkes diving on the loose ball. It's gone to ground, but backwards. And a penalty to Canterbury. That's against Penrith for stealing the ball.